It's been almost 120 years that the world invited the plastic, and since then plastic is widespread all over the world. And the topic of this debate will be it is possible to live free plastic nowadays or not. So we will have the group number one of this debate, represented by Martina, who is also the leader of this group, Just, Wacy, Juan, Roman, Brian, and Joel, and they are against this issue. They are saying that it is not possible to live in a free plastic world today. And we have group number one, represented by Arthur, who is the leader of this group, Eva, Eli, Annabelle, Chiara, and Keita, who will give arguments that yes, we can live, it is possible today to live in a free plastic world. So if you are ready, we can start the debate. And as always, the floor first is for group number one.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, and good to see you guys again. We're very happy to talk about this issue with you guys, as we feel that we have a lot to talk about, a lot of arguments to bring to the table. First of all, during these, 120 years, we can acknowledge that, wow, our lives have become so much more easier thanks to plastic. We don't see a world, a society possible to live in without plastic. We use plastic for everything. If we would change this to other materials, you can only imagine how tough and heavy and hard life would be. By that, I'd like to open this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. And the floor is for group number two.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So, plastic is not biodegradable. It takes between 100 and 1,000 years to decompose. For example, a bottle of water, it takes like 500 years. And most plastic, 80% of plastic, comes from land, from agriculture and urban areas. But it ends in rivers, lakes, oceans, even at the deepest points. And it's a big issue because it interferes with many species and their biological cycle. For example, 700 species are now having trouble with this issue. They get killed because they eat it, or they get tangled or poisoned because of plastic. And that's also a big problem for people who live thanks to that.
Thank you, Eva.
Okay.
Again, Martina from group number one.
Yes. So we would like to answer by bringing up the topic of transportation. If we would not use the plastic as we use today, but we would change it to, for example, metals, you can only imagine what the difference in the weight it will cause. So transporting all the products that we use the plastic for today, it would weigh so much more, so the cost of transportation would increase immensely. It wouldn't be possible. also to be able to transport products that would be used for to not have the products in plastic, but to use it with metal or glass. It takes more space, so we need more trucks or more containers or more airplanes to transport these products. So then we would have an issue of polluting even more because we need more space for all these products. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina.
Okay. Jump in here.
Arthur is jumping to the debate from the group number 2.
Okay. Now, the question is it possible to live on a planet without plastic? But our group is stating that it is possible. Now, how realistic that is, that's a different question. There are a lot of ifs. Transportation is just one of the issues. There are many also in medicine, of course. There are a lot of uses of plastic that would be almost impossible, at least now, to kind of change. But I want to go back in time a little bit. Only 2 years, not so long ago. Before the COVID struck, we didn't consider online meetings as much. We would actually spend 2 hours on the way to a meeting just to discuss a simple topic that we could actually just discuss over call. What I'm trying to say here is that sometimes we get so caught up with with the way things are at the moment that we might even not be able to think outside the box a little bit. And there are already many other solutions being made in terms of creating a different kind of plastic, a plastic that is not really as bad for the earth around us and for the nature. So I'm kind of going against myself here because, without plastic we cannot live, but with a different plastic, now that I think we could do.
Thank you, Arthur. Yeah. From the group number 2 is Yus.
What we are saying is we could not live without plastic. What we're saying is we could use less plastic, of course, but we need plastic in some cases. For example, like in some food transportation, it would make the health standards much more higher if we transported it with plastic, as well as Martina said before, that if we replaced it with like glass or metal or something else, it would also cost more to make more emissions maybe also than plastic. So it would just be the same. And talking about bio-based plastic that you were mentioning, it would require a lot of water to produce it because it comes also from, you can also create it from plants, and it would require about 300 to 1,650 billion cubic meters of water each year, and that is approximately 3 to 18% of average footprint in a year on the whole planet. So we would run out of a lot more water if we use this bio-based plastic.
Okay. Thank you, Just. Now the turn is for group number 2.
So I would like to acknowledge that we need plastic right now, but what I want to say is that not necessarily we can replace it with a biodegradable sort of plastic. We can replace it with other materials like glasses, paper and stuff like that, and we realize it's a temporary solution. But think about it, like if governments or like big factories and stuff like that try to do it, and it could be easily replaceable even now if they use like a deposit system, like the one they do with plastic. So let's say, for example, you go to the supermarket and you buy like a glass, and the bottle should be a glass of water, and you pay like, let's say 10 cents, and for plastic one you pay 50 cents. So in this way, you can motivate people because not everyone cares about the environment, but what they care is about spending less. So what we want to say is, even now, if we wanted, we could have changed.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. Replacing plastic and motivating people to not use plastic was your argument. And now the turn is to the group number 1. Welcome back.
Bueno, se supone que quieren que si nos ponemos para pensar en un mundo pues sin plástico es muy difícil, casi que imposible. Por ejemplo, hay mucha gente que habla sobre usar las bolsas de papel, el de papel. ¿Saben ustedes cuál es la materia prima de las bolsas de papel? La madera. Eso implica que hay que talar muchísimo más árboles si no hay bolsas plásticas, y no hay ningún programa que yo creo que sea capaz de saldar la demanda de madera de que se va a aplicar para las bolsas el de papel. Si no hay plástico, hay que ir por otros recursos desde la tierra, y cuando uno los explota, eso causa gases que dañan más el medio ambiente.
Okay. So he was saying that it is hard to think about a world without plastic. We talk about changing the plastic bags to paper bags, but do you guys know what the paper bags are made of? Trees. So the conclusion here is that if we don't use plastic, we need to use other raw materials that we are extracting from the planet. Other raw materials such as metal. To extract metal, we need to use mining as a procedure, and mining is polluting itself, the air. So if we don't use plastic, we need to extract other raw materials, and we need to see like where does that leave us.
Okay, thank you, Martina and Brian.
Okay, this time Chiara will take also the second minute.
Okay.
From last one.
So what I wanted to say is that I do agree that it has a harm, but I wanted to say that maybe for like the paper bags that you said, we can plant more trees, and I know it's not the perfect solution, but the idea is that you can somehow it's somehow like a source that you can change. Like plastic, we know that it takes 1,000 years for them to biodegrade, so we want to say like it's not the perfect solution. Maybe in the future we can talk about another solution, but right now we want to talk about something that causes less harm, and it's something that we can do, a measure that we can take right now, because if we keep on using those plastic bags, then those are something that we cannot change anything about it. Like it will take 1,000 years for them to biodegrade. But at least paper bags are easy to biodegrade, and we can plant more trees.
Thank you, Chiara.
First of all, plastic is more cheaper than other materials. The second, many devices that we use every day contain plastic. Some of them are phones, cars, computers, etc. We use phone every day, we move with the car, and we do our work with the computer. We make all of activities with plastic equipment.
Thank you, Eric.
So I'm gonna talk about how it is affordable to live without the plastic and what other benefits it brings. So for instance, you can buy cotton bag and go shopping with it, and you don't need to buy a plastic bag. At the first, this cotton bag will be more expensive, but at the end it will be much cheaper. And it's the same, for instance, for water bottles. And the other thing you can do is you can plant your own vegetables, because the seeds are a lot more cheaper, and the benefit that it has is that you will eat a lot more healthier. And if living without a plastic is a lot more expensive for you, then you can cut some other things off of your life. For instance, don't drive with a car that much, so you don't need to spend money on petrol.
Okay, thank you, Keita. Another argument that yes, we can live without plastic nowadays. Let's see, group number 1. Roman, taking the floor now.
The plastic has a higher life cycle than the other alternative, like cardboard or wood, and resulting in a better environmental and economic impact by reducing the number of units needed over time. And we can reuse the plastic. Some object can be reused, like I don't know, a plastic cup can be reused and can be used all in all life. I don't know how to say, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Ah, it's okay.
Okay.
Finish.
Thank you, Roman.
So, taking a look of the history, there's always have been an age of something, a Stone Age, Iron Age. We can say that the last years, the last century, it have been the Plastic Age, and it's something that needs to finish. Also, they have discovered another materials cheaper than plastic that they are making from. I don't remember exactly. Try to find it. Do I have internet right now? In I think South of Africa, I don't remember exactly, but it's a new material that they are producing new phones in, I think it's China, with this material, and it's cheaper than plastic. So, like these ages in the past ended, I think it's time that the plastic age needs to finish and live with another alternative that right now they are discovering. Because if the human beings have evolved in the last years and passed from materials to other materials, that maybe in this age they think that it's impossible to live without maybe iron, we can change it for another materials in this current age. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Eli, for your arguments. One is coming from the group number 1.
I think that right now it's not possible because we are like too much consumers in society. So, if you want another like material, anyways we like deforestation, like for paper bags and bags. And I think it's not possible to live without at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan.
I just want to say that the question is, it is possible to live in a world without plastic, but we don't speak about right now, not in 2022. We need a big transition, and we need time to do that, to live without plastic, but it's possible, and it already began with lots of law, with lots of countries who forbids the single use of plastic. So I think it's a beginning, and it's possible to live in a world without plastic.
Thank you, Annabelle.
All right. So, friends, I think we can all agree on that it's quite impossible to live without plastic. We use plastic for everything today. We have it for our comfort. We have it in our cell phones, our TVs, our cars. It would be impossible to change, to use another raw material for this. Not to least mention that our medical care that we have today would not function without plastic. It's crucial to have it. What we are saying is that a society without plastic is not possible, but we acknowledge that all plastic should be reusable. So the problem itself is not plastic, but that it's not recyclable. Only 20% today is recyclable. If we could make that number a lot higher, it wouldn't be a problem. And unfortunately, because such a high percent or part is not recyclable, that is the cause why we are right now drowning in plastic. But if we could reuse it, as you all were saying, that it takes almost up to 1,000 years before it decomposes, it means that plastic has a really long lifespan, which means that we could use it over and over and over again until it's not usable anymore. And that's why it is something that if we could just develop how we could recycle it better, we don't need to extract more of it because we already have more than enough of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina.
Okay. As a humanity, we have gone a pretty long way. We've been on the planet for quite some time, from living in caves, when also people couldn't even imagine that there is such a thing as making a fire, possible. And then they kind of got to it. We were riding horses, and then someone came up with the idea that possibly we could have a better use of transportation. And I believe that most people at the time said it's impossible because they just didn't have those kind of resources at the time. Airplanes, that was impossible as well. But now we are just flying all over the place, left and right. Now, plastic is something that we also created as part of evolution. 117 years ago, right? And it's sort of a disease that we have created, because it also creates other diseases. It creates cancer. Creates cancer, and that's just one of the things. Now, if we talk about what's possible and what's impossible, I believe that the moment we as humanity say that something is impossible is pretty much when we just stop evolving. We cannot say that. Because if we have a problem, we can find a solution. If we have a dream, we can make that dream happen. So, obviously, it is possible to live on a planet without plastic.
Thank you, Arthur. We are going to the final round of this debate, and the turn is for group number 1. Okay.
We don't
So
have
group
anyone.
number 1 is already done with their arguments, and if group number 2 would like to add something, you have the possibility to add something. Arthur, it's you have one turn left if you want to add something.
I said everything.
Okay. Okay, then we came at the end of this debate. So I think on this debate we kind of all agreed for the reduce of the plastic, but our argument was about if we are ready to leave now free plastic, and what measures we can do, and what steps we can take to reach on these free plastic days. So again, thank you for your arguments and your ideas shared. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
An applause for you.